insert any other names if you can recall other cyclocross riders succeeding. But yeah, it's definitely an impressive ride from his half, and it was actually a pretty exciting race to watch.
It was definitely an exciting race. I think most eyes, as I think all three of us talked up Mathieu van der Poel, and everyone was kind of thinking, yeah, this is 2021, copy paste. Didn't happen. He didn't really have it in the tank. And then now this new force of the Jumbo Visma formula of just jetting in from Tenerife, pick up the victory, and then jet back to Tenerife didn't really happen. Attila Valter and Thies Benoot, not quite. Well, it really did look like they were going to catch Pitcock at one point. They were within 7 seconds, and yeah, it
Well,
seemed like they just threw it away.
they said after the race that there was a breakdown in communication between them. It's the first time they've raced together, and they weren't quite communicating with each other enough. And Walter took the brunt of that responsibility. He said it was on his half. It was his fault really that they couldn't really communicate and couldn't bring it back. Tish Benoit eventually got the stronger result in third place on the day. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't fabulous Jumbo-Visma, which is a sign that they're not sort of unbeatable. They weren't sort of 3D printed, AI generated to be the winners of every single classic and every single Grand Tour in 2023. They have shown some faults in their armor there. So yeah, it'll be intriguing to see where they go with this and see how Walter and Tish Benoit learned from this lesson. Evidently, that probably shows that 1 week ago at Kuurne Brussel Kuurne, when they had Benoit and Van Hooijdonk in that group, it worked so well because they know each other very well. They rode a Tour de France together last year. They rode a number of races together in 2022. Both had been at the team for longer. Whereas coming into this race with Benoit and Walter, who've never ridden together in a race before, I mean, it's kind of these occupational hazards we don't think of as fans as much, but I can imagine it's what like being a pilot and you're working on a big transatlantic flight, a difficult landing, and you've got a new co-pilot you've never sort of spoken to before. Yeah, it's going to be difficult that first time round, but eventually you'll get used to it. And I think we saw them yesterday at Strada Bianca kind of experimenting with each other.
I think it's worth noting that even if, let's say, for example, Walter did go on the front and he did bring Pidcock back, actually, Benoit wouldn't have won in theory because he was pipped by Valentin Madouas, who I was so happy mainly because Madouas signed my flag at the Tour de France last year with my botched French. So he's like an immediate, I immediately love him for that. Just great performance from him. He was looking so strong and I was just amazed. It shows that really his performance last year where he finished on the podium of Flanders, that was not a fluke at all. Madouas is a name which has perhaps crept up on people and I think he's still quite underrated. And furthermore, Groupama just in general, Romain Grégoire, I feel like he deserves a little bit of a chat because 20 years old, I think I saw a stat, he is the youngest person to ever finish inside the top 10 at Strade Bianche. I think because he is 20 years old, he finished in 8th place, which is just incredible, in all honesty. I think that Groupama, we must have said in the past about their under-23 team, just how good it is, how good their talent acquisition is. And Gregoire's just outstanding performance. I can't wait to see what he's going to produce later this year and into the future.
Exactly that. I mean, it was a fantastic day for Groupama, who I think have really showed in the past year or two that they are a really legitimate classics team with a really strong squad for the classics. We saw that with even last year. They got a podium in the 2 cobble monuments. We don't necessarily think about that much. But King Koen got a podium in Roubaix and Madouas at the Ronde van Vlaanderen. And now with their team coming into this season, Madouas, of course, an absolute star. I agree. I think criminally underrated. He finished in top 20 in GC last year at the Tour de France. That's fantastic for a guy like him. David Gaudu was singing his praises, saying that he wouldn't have got to the position he was in GC if it weren't for Valentin Madouas. It is impressive. And for Grégoire, he's born in 2003. It's a terrifying prospect. But he's a guy who's just swept up so many big wins in the past year at the junior level, a stage win at the Baby Giro, a stage win at the Tour de l'Avenir, which is the junior Tour de France, the Flèche Ardennaise, the Liège-Bastogne-Liège for juniors. It's kind of like a tick sheet, a to-do list of everything you need to win before becoming a great classic star. And with this performance at Strada Bianca, I'm super excited to see what he's going to do, because this isn't just a fluke. He's been looking good since the start of the season, right up there at the Ouverture, the Grand Prix La Marseillaise, also at the Italian race earlier this week. Can't remember the name of it.
Industria.
La Gueglia, that one. Industria is still to come. But yeah, I mean, Grégoire, all aboard the hype train. He is something special for Groupama.